Hi, Carol Robbins from Alignment Rescue, and I'm here with the fourth installment of the six-part Better Balance series. So in our first video, we looked at how sitting differently can contribute to core strength. And in the next video, we looked at how getting in and out of a chair can be an opportunity to strengthen the posterior hip muscles. In the third, we used that strength to prevent us from falling forward as we stand. And in today's video, we're going to take the next steps, literally, because today's video is about walking, and today's exercise is called the list. So walking in itself is a balance activity because you're on one leg at a time. So you take a step, you're on that leg, that hip is organizing the weight of your entire trunk as the other leg swings through, and then it lands and becomes the weight-bearing leg, and so on. So what happens when you start to lose some of the skills that I'm outlining for you here in this video series is that your gait mechanics start to change. And it can happen so slowly that you're not aware of it, because you're still able to walk from A to B, but the way you're walking may not be the way that uses your optimal hip strength and balance. So what happens is when you take a step and you have to balance on that one leg for the amount of time it takes the other leg to swing through and shift onto that leg, when you start losing the strength, you have to land a little sooner because you're unable to be on that leg as long. And that starts to shorten your gait stride, eventually leading to, the very worst case scenario is leading to that shuffle where you actually literally never lift your feet. Unable to be on one leg at a time. And that, of course, increases your risk of falling by tripping over something really small, like the crack in a sidewalk or the edge of a carpet. So there's actually a test, an aging test that they use in Japan, where they measure the length of strides you can take, and then there's a formula where you apply it to your height, and you come up with a number that will able to tell you if you're starting to lose these skills or not. And you can find that test in my online course, the Dynamic Aging 5-Day Challenge. Okay, but today I'm going to go through the list with you. So here's what we're going to do. Take a stance so that your feet are pointing straight ahead. No turnout here. And your legs are under your hips so they're parallel. Back your weight up so you feel your weight in the back third of your foot. And then just shift your pelvis sideways, back and forth, so that you feel the weight transferring into one foot and then the other, almost like you're walking without going forward. And as you shift your weight, you'll feel your pelvis shifting sideways and a little bit outside of the foot. So if you look at the right hip now, it's way out beyond the side of my right foot. So what I'm going to do now is shift to that side, keep my center line so my nose stays over the foot, but I'm going to bring my hip under the same plumb line. So I push my hip in without shifting anything back over to that second side, push my hip under me. And now I can lift the other foot and keep both knees straight. So there's that moment where you're in that balance in your gait. Try to balance here for 10 or 15 seconds. Relax your upper body so you're not using your arms. And if you have to, if your balance is compromised, you'll know it almost right away because you'll have to tap down with the other foot. So that tap down is actually telling you that your stride is starting to shorten. Let's try it on the other side. Shift. Your hip will shift a little bit further, and you're going to push it back under you. You'll also see the top of my head get a little closer to the top frame of the video, because as the entire length of the leg comes underneath me, I actually grow a little bit. And that's what allows this leg to come off the ground. So if you don't have the strength, you can still walk, of course, but you'll have to do it with less lateral hip strength and more knee flexion, which ends up putting a more load to the knees and the outside of the hip than you should have. So I'm going to shift, push it under me. This is the list moment. Lift the other foot, and then just balance here for 10 or 15 seconds. Eventually, you want to work your way up to about a minute of balance on each foot. So you can do this a few times a day. Whenever you're standing, waiting in a lineup or waiting for your kettle to boil, or some people like to brush their teeth while they're standing on one leg, so you can do it there. So that's the list. Now you can, as you get stronger, you'll find that you bring more of that skill to your walk. So you don't have to think about it while you're walking. It should just happen naturally as the muscles get stronger through doing this exercise. So give it a try, and I'll see you in the next video.